Go ahead and get started. If anybody else comes in, well, they can just make their way in and go from there. First off, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from January 12th? Okay, if we have, we'll take a vote on approval of the minutes for January 12th. Those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Are we not on? There we go. I'll get it closer. The mask throws me off. Motion passes. With that, we'll move along. Our speaker today is Greg Bergen with the Veterans Affairs Commission. And we're always excited to have Greg because he gives us a lot of new information and things that are going on. So, Greg, it's all yours.
Okay. Protocol-wise, do you want me to keep the mask on, or it's just, oh, done. Yeah, it was on. All right. You know, I can go either way. It just makes it, I think, a little bit easier if it is off. But first of all, thanks for having me back, Mr. Chair, and everybody on the committee. We've got a number of new members. It's good to be back. It's been almost a year since we last met, and a lot of things have transpired and taken place. You have my testimony, then I gave you kind of a year in review, which is some of the numbers that we have. And I know we got a couple of new people, so I'm gonna go off script a little bit, just because some people aren't real familiar with our agency and what we do, and I'm just gonna talk quickly about what we do and what some of our responsibilities are. But hey, first of all, it's a pleasure being back. It's good seeing everybody, and I want to wish all of you the best of luck as we go through this. It's been one crazy year for all of us, and presented a number of challenges that we're doing our best to overcome. And I think with everybody working together, hopefully we can make this a successful year, and the upcoming year a successful upcoming year. But for those who, and it always scares me a little bit having people behind me because I don't know what's getting ready to be thrown, but that's okay. I'm used to it. That's no big deal. But for those that don't know me, I'm Greg Burden. I'm the director of the Commission on Veteran Affairs office here in Topeka. I've been in this position for almost 9 years, for 9 years, and we've transformed this agency and I think brought it a long way. I'm from Kansas. I was born and raised in Manhattan, went to K-State, 2-year ROTC wonder, joined the Air Force, spent almost 26 years in the Air Force and the Air National Guard, and I retired as the commander of the 190th Air Refueling Wing about 11 years ago, and really enjoyed my service there. After that, I actually spent some time with the National Cemetery Administration, then I worked for the VA also at the Health Resource Center here in Topeka, Kansas, before I came on board here. So, done a number of different things, familiar with Kansas, the local area. I think we have a pretty, a lot of expertise with VA issues, priorities, and how they affect our agency. So, just a little bit about me, and I love talking about our agency. I think we do some great things. And for you that don't know, I always invite people to take advantage of what we have as I go through this, to come and visit. You can come by our office. We're in the Jayhawk Tower, actually. So before I forget, I brought cards, and you're more than welcome to contact me. Stop by the office anytime if you got any questions or want to talk about any issues. But just real briefly, our agency, the central office is here in Topeka, and we've got basically just a skeleton staff overseeing. We're authorized 360 employees, a little over 360 employees right now. We're running right around 300. We've got, myself, the deputy director is sitting outside. He and I, our budget director's out there also if there's any specific questions. Our HR manager is located down in Winfield, and we have some other budget people in the office here and admin people. So we got a real small staff to take care of a rather large organization. We're the largest small agency in the state of Kansas. We're not up to that large agency, but we are big, and actually we're bigger than some of the large agencies. Our agency, the biggest, we're divided up between our homes, cemeteries, and veteran services, and those are the three main things we do. I like to tell people, as I go along here, they go, we get mixed up with the federal VA a lot, and I tell people, we're the state, we do things very well, and everything that we do, though, complements the federal VA. And as an example, our nursing homes. The federal VA, the VA hospitals have very limited access to long-term care. They do have some long-term care, but they don't have much. And so in order to meet that need, most of the states have picked up that responsibility with state veteran nursing homes across the nation. So we get reimbursed for a lot from the federal VA for our nursing homes. We get a lot of federal money to support this, but we pick up that slack. The state veteran cemeteries complement the federal cemetery program. The large national cemeteries are usually located around metropolitan areas, and we've got 4 state veteran cemeteries, and there's state veteran cemeteries across the country that are strategically located in places, and in Kansas is well established, to cover. What they do is they put a 60-mile concentric circle around it, and we cover about 90 to 95% of the state with our locations in Manhattan, Winfield, Waukene, and Fort Dodge. We meet all the standards. It looks like a national cemetery, just on a smaller scale, and we're really proud of what we have. So, like I said, we complement the federal VA by providing that service. And then with our veteran services, they have tons of benefits, but they don't have very many people reaching out and getting those benefits to the veterans. And that's where a lot of states have county veteran service reps. There's a lot of service organizations that have them. Here in Kansas, we have state employees who are veteran service reps located in 14 offices throughout the state of Kansas, helping those veterans get all the benefits that they've earned. So that's just kind of what we do. Our 2 nursing homes are located out of Fort Dodge and Winfield. The Fort Dodge facility is the original Fort Dodge. It's been in place as a nursing home, a veteran facility since the late 1800s. And it's been in place and has gone through a lot of transformations. We have a rather large facility. It's located just outside Dodge City, and been serving veterans for over 100 years out there. Great facility, great people out there, and hopefully we can continue providing this service down the road. The facility in Winfield used to be a state children's home, and then it converted into a veterans home a little over 20 years ago. It's a little bit newer facility, providing the same sort of services there that we have out at Dodge, but doing a great job out there. So those are 2 veteran nursing home facilities. We provide basically long-term care for veterans and also domiciliary care. You'll hear us refer to the cottages, which is a different level of domiciliary out of Fort Dodge. There's some of the houses that have been in place for a long time where resident spouses can live in there, and it's just like they have their own house. So we offer a number of those buildings out of Fort Dodge. So we've got the long-term care and the domiciliary that we have at both of our facilities. And then our funding, I always want to throw that in there. We have multiple funding streams. We get money from the state general fund. We are Medicaid and Medicare certified and have been for, they just got certified just before I came on board about 10 or 11 years ago. and we also get VA per diem to support our operations, our facilities. So I think it's important that people realize that we're not reliant on just one funding source, but on multiple funding sources. Oh, and there's also fee funds where the residents have to pay to support, based upon their ability to pay. They have to pay also. So with all of those, it's a balancing act, based upon the veterans that we have or the spouses, what priority, what kind of funding they get. But it's wonderful that we have these things, and I think it makes it very economical for the state of Kansas to be able to run and operate these with these multiple funding streams. So those are our nursing homes. Just quick and dirty, our 4 veteran cemeteries. Like I said, we meet all the National Cemetery Administration guidelines. And like I said, if you haven't visited one, I highly encourage you to go out there. These are near and dear to my heart. My parents are buried at the Manhattan Cemetery. Beautiful place. They didn't even realize they were eligible. My dad was a World War II veteran, and I had to tell them I wasn't even a part of the state yet. And they had just built it and finished it, and it had been in operation for about a year when my mom passed away, and he didn't even think he would be able to utilize it, or my mom. But when he went out there, he was like, God, this is just beautiful. And we were able to take advantage of it. And I'm proud of all 4 of our cemeteries and provide a great service. The service, includes, we have caskets, in-ground cremains, above-ground cremains. We have scattering gardens. There's a variety of different ways that people these days, want to be buried or remembered. And so we try and be as flexible as we can to provide services for all those wishes from the individuals out there. It's a great cost savings to the family too. Basically, once you walk in the door, everything's paid for. When you get there, in regards to the cemetery, we don't pay for the caskets, but for the plot, crypt, headstones, memorial markers, all that's taken care of by our program. So wonderful program, and it provides a great service. The next thing I'm going to talk about, or the last thing, the veteran services I mentioned, are field offices across the state providing those services. In addition to the field offices, we have mobile units. We actually have 3 mobile units that we rotate those vehicles around. We have 2 teams that usually are on the road constantly due to COVID. Haven't been on the road in a long time. So hopefully at some point in time we can get that up and going again, but we're still a ways away from that. In addition to the mobile units, we also have a quality assurance section. Whenever we put the packages together for the veterans to turn into the VA for claims, it goes through our QA for a review, which I think saves everybody a lot of time. We have very, very few kickback, and so they tend to go through the first time to make sure it's done correctly. It's been well worth having the people there reviewing that to ensure all the extra time that it takes after the fact to re-input and get it done correctly. So we have the QA down in Wichita, and we also have a SAA program that state approving agency provides oversight of the GI Bill benefits here in the state of Kansas. It's a government grant, and we have 2 people that basically review and ensure that all the institutions and programs meet the VA guidelines in order to utilize the GI Bill. That's something that people just don't realize how much money is brought into the state through the GI Bill, and it's extremely important, and we want to make sure that we keep that up, and all the institutions and people using it take advantage of it. So quick rundown just on our agency before I start talking about kind of the year in review and the last year, what's been going on and what's going on currently. I encourage anybody, if you got any questions, stop me. We're going to be moving through a lot of different things, and we'll hit it while it's relevant. If I can't answer the question, I got my deputy director and budget director sitting out in the hallway. They're listening in right now. And if I can't answer it, I sincerely hope that one of them can answer it. And if we can't, we'll go back and get you the information. So, looking at the last year in review, the first thing I talked about, I look at this, the agency, as a whole, and you can see kind of what the top 4 priorities were, things that I was dealing with, COVID, budget issues, the census at the homes, and the manpower. What can I say? COVID's just hit us hard, hit everybody hard. And if you're not, you read it, you see about the hospitals and nursing homes, but until you're hands-on with it, and I'm not experiencing it every day, but I'm hearing it every day. And it's been tough, frustrating for the people. And we'll go in a little bit more into what has gone on at the homes here in a few minutes. But it's cost a lot of money, and it's not only for us, but for the people we serve. At our homes, we're really concerned about the mental health of all our residents, and we're really concerned about the mental health of the staff too, because they've been living this for almost a year now, and it's been tough. And so we don't anticipate everything we're seeing. We're going to be dealing with this through the summer, fall, and probably the winter coming up. When you've got the age of the veterans at our homes and their risk levels, it's just going to be tough. I don't know how we're going to come out of it. We're going to do it as soon as we can, but it's presented a number of challenges. Everything from infection control to admissions, quarantine, but I'll get into that here in just a minute. So the priority has just been COVID for us. And, veteran services, they're dealing with the veterans, trying to put together their claims. And so we've had to spend a lot of money. They were able to operate remotely in a way that's worked very beneficially. While a lot of these veteran service reps were at home, they were reviewing all these claims that they haven't reviewed in a long time, working on the phone with a lot of these. And actually, you'll see our numbers have gone up. So a lot of these people that haven't have had a claim out there maybe for 10 years, their rating may have gone up, and they haven't been able to address or go back and work with the people. They did a lot of this. And so, so that was good. But, we've gotten everything, we've got shields, everything trying to protect people. We've been meeting in person with people most of the time since then, but it's just made it very, very difficult, and even for people to come in and visit. So COVID's a challenge for all of us and for everything that we're doing. It just makes it doubly difficult. I'm just going to hit on, I'll talk more about the budget issues, but before COVID hit, it really hit, about last March here in Kansas. And I can't remember, when was it in March? Wasn't it that the legislature ended? It was sometime towards the end of March, but we started implementing things earlier. But our census had been going down. That's a big part of our budget. And then when COVID hit, it just strangled us. We couldn't admit people. You still have people who passed away, or numbers were going down. And then when the legislature went home, we were in a bind. There was a shortfall, and we didn't have any way around it. We had gone in and submitted a GBA, Governor's Budget Amendment, and submitted that. And then the Legislative Coordinating Council at the end, just early in June or mid-June, we got additional funding to get us through last fiscal year. So we did get some SGF funding. We were able to get through the end of the fiscal year. And since then, we've gotten some federal monies, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So we're doing okay this year. And we should be able to get through this year in July, and hopefully transitioning to the next year. We're hoping things look like we should be okay for next year too. So big budget issues that we've had to overcome, still dealing with. And you could have another outbreak at the homes, and you could take a massive hit, or something could change. There could be another variant out there of COVID, and we started this all over again, but we'll wait and see. So we had the budget issues, census I hit on before. We've admitted very few since last March. And so taken a significant decline in the number of resident census at the homes. So we've attrited some staff, but you got a lot of costs and everything else associated with this. So it was short, but thank goodness we had the additional federal funding that is getting us through this. So the census has become a big issue. We think we're be getting to the point where we can start it. We've admitted a few along the way. Once we admit somebody, they have to go in quarantine for 14 days. Finding the space for a quarantine, additional staff, makes it difficult. So it'll probably be slow and programmatic, and we're hoping that here soon we'll see an uptick in the census at both of our homes. More to follow on that too. Manpower has been difficult. 85% of our agency staff are at our homes. And you see it every day in the newspapers and on TV about the shortage of healthcare workers. It's hitting us, and both of our facilities in Winfield and at Dodge, relatively rural areas, and the competition is fierce. And because of that, it makes it very, very difficult to keep the staffing where we want it. We have to rely on what we call agency. There's a number of different agencies that provide temporary staffing to fill those gaps. They're running out of people too. And for COVID, they're charging more. So it's just been a battle. It's been very tough. When you're looking at all of these things combined, we've had our hands full this past year. And I'll get into more of the numbers here shortly, but I have to hand it to all of our folks, the leadership team, all the folks out in the field. They've done a bang-up job. They've done a tremendous job based upon the obstacles that they've faced. And I'm really proud of what we've done and where we're at. And I keep telling people, this is going to be behind us at some point in time. We kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's starting to get a little bit bigger, and hopefully we'll see some improvements soon. Okay, with that being said, those were just kind of the big focuses of what's happened from my vantage point, and then we'll get drilled down to a few more of the details here. But I'm going to try not read much, but there's a couple of things I am going to read. But last fiscal year, at the veterans, both of our veterans' homes, we, IT security is huge. The state's been dealing with issues, money's tight. We're doing our best to secure all the information that we have, but we were able to get new network firewalls. We have new phone systems that were put in. One of the big things we've been working on is security cameras at both locations. And then both last year, before COVID hit, we did implement a rate increase. But just real quick, I'll just read the verbiage in one of the few places I will. But the Kansas Veterans Home in Winfield and the Soldiers Home at Fort Dodge have experienced significant upgrades and changes over the past year. Both facilities have installed new firewalls for their networks, which significantly enhances IT security and capability of each facility. Both facilities are also adding facility-wide security camera systems, which will add yet another layer of security for our residents and staff. Rates at both homes have also been adjusted to cover increasing operating costs and healthcare costs. And both homes remain significantly cheaper than area markets. Usually, we go out and look at all the other nursing homes, and traditionally we're about 25 to 30% cheaper than most of the prevailing rates in the local areas. So we had a 5% increase, still keeps us significantly below. The ability to keep rates lower is what I mentioned before, the per diem payments we get from the VA and the Medicaid and Medicare funding. Both homes were significantly impacted by COVID, and we'll be talking more about that, but both homes instituted strict measures mandated by the regulatory bodies to protect the residents and staff of the facilities. Both homes have had minimal issues until December of this year, just last month, at which time both facilities suffered an outbreak of COVID in our long-term care units. Why, and I said, these guys, we had some onesie-twosie COVID cases we were able to easily isolate, and we received the vaccine December 20, if I remember correctly, December 28th and 29th. I think it was 28th down at Winfield and 29th down at out of Fort Dodge. Vaccinated the majority of our residents and a lot of the staff. And then it was just about the 31st or the 1st that all of a sudden both facilities had an outbreak of COVID. I was like, gosh, we've held on this long. We were hoping, and it takes a while for the vaccine to develop that immunity, and then there's the booster that goes along with it. So just timing's everything. And I will say, if you're not aware, if you look out at Ford County where Fort Dodge is, and actually Cowley County where Winfield is, but Ford County has been one of the hardest hit counties, has had the highest rates of COVID in the state, actually. And so with the unbelievably high rates out there, I give them a ton of credit for keeping it out as long as they did. The numbers are actually coming down, but in the county, but we did have an outbreak out there, and unfortunately we lost a few of our veterans to COVID-related issues. But speaking to that, compared to a lot of states and things, we've done amazingly well with the numbers. Okay, well, we can talk more specifically, and if you have questions, I will certainly try and answer them. But at the Kansas Veterans Home, you could see what the average daily census was back in 2020 was 104. That covers the whole span of the year, and the numbers were coming down. You can see with the long-term care how many we had and the assisted living, but it's gone down even more. Traditionally, we're going to run probably 100, 125 people out there. So it was getting low, and it's run lower. And I don't have, I'll dig through my information here pretty soon and show you where we're at today. Due to COVID-19, like I said, the census started to decline in March and continued over the next 4 months within the fiscal year. It's also done that here in the first 5 months, well, in the first half of this fiscal year. I did throw in a few of the highlights. Because nursing homes have been kind of the pointy of the spear when it comes to COVID and everybody looking at, they've been getting looked at by anybody and everybody, CMS, and you can see in the middle of the page, they've had 4 outstanding surveys despite COVID. They're coming in looking at infection control, complaints, anything, looking for best practices, policy procedures, how you're quarantined and everything. So very, very thorough, but they came through unbelievably well. So like I said, very proud of what both of our homes done, especially down in Winfield. Let's see. You can see the veterans home, hasn't been unscathed in December. It wasn't until December that the veterans home had its first resident test positive. And over the next 30 days, through the month of December, early into January, they had 12 more tests positive, but no deaths down at Winfield. And those numbers that I have, I can give you an update. The active positive rates, I think, are a little bit higher. They changed. These numbers came early this week from last week, but they've changed, and there's a few more veterans. But you can see we had a number of residents who have recovered and no resident deaths at Winfield. One of the things, both of our facilities are relatively, one's quite old and the other's over 50 years old. The capital improvement projects we have, if you have any questions, we have a capital improvement plan that we put out every year in order to get funding to take care of issues and things to the homes. Like I said, these homes have been around a long time, and we do our best to keep up, but sometimes things pop up. But one of the biggest things, and some of the members that have been here for a while, we're trying to be proactive versus reactive. When I first came on board years ago, we were just reactive to the issues. We've done some studies, we've looked at things. I think we're being much proactive, we're being much smarter in the way we approach our projects, capital improvement projects, and based upon the need and the requirement out there. So you can see over the last year, just a number of things were done, replacing air handlers in different facilities, different fan coils in some of the hallways for heating and cooling, replaced roofs on 3 of the cottages that we have there. And we just finished up a new maintenance building. The maintenance had been housed in kind of in the middle of the facility, just wasn't convenient, but we were able to build a new Morton building and set it off to the side to house all the equipment, people, and things to work on the buildings, which was huge for us, huge for them. You can see in 21, a lot of things going on. One of the things you can see, the campus security enhancement, which I mentioned, is ongoing. Key replacement's huge. Security, we're doing our best, to keep our residents and our staff safe. We've replaced most of the boilers, but we still got a few to go. And you'll see that in this coming year, these wall protection in Bleckley Hall is one of our bigger places. It's kind of I hate to say fiberglass, easy to clean, maintain, very, very durable. That'll be replacing along the walls in Bleckley. I'm not going to go through all those other projects, but if you would like a copy of our capital improvement plan or have any questions, I can certainly get you that information. We meet with committee members all the time and the committee to go over this, and it's always a challenge, but I think we do a pretty good job and continue to improve. Transitioning from Winfield to Fort Dodge, you can see out there that the average daily census at the home in 2020 was 97. Halsey Hall, which is our long-term care facility, they averaged 46. I think the max 56, but 54 is usually what we target. Just because, and you can see it's down, and it's down even more since we haven't been admitting people. The long-term care, we get the largest reimbursement, and that's the biggest part of the money we get at both of our facilities. And so vitally important to us that we maximize our space in our long-term care facility. You can see, flipping over to the next page, the overall staffing of the facility, almost a 45% turnover. That looks and sounds terrible, but if you start looking at the rest of the healthcare industry, which we threw out there, it's 55% and above. These people are transients, I hate to say, nurses, RNs, LPNs, CNAs. They move from place to place, so it's not uncommon to turn these over. We have a good core group of people out there, but we still have a lot of people changing jobs, moving from one place to the next. And I'll mention it later. It is hard to compete with the civilian sector. Our pay rates are close. They can hire somebody. They can go in an interview and hire and start the next day, where they have to do a background check, they have to take a drug test. We have to run them through mill. We're lucky if we can get them on board in 2 to 3 weeks. It's just a fact of life. Some people can't wait that long. So it's very, very difficult. Our HR people do a wonderful job getting these people in, but it's a challenge. You start hitting these rural areas, they're running out of people. And so you're competing, and then the demand's so high, but there's only so much quantity out there. And so we're doing our best. You can see just recently finished construction projects. Finally got the elevators done in Halsey Hall. We have dual elevators in a long-term care facility. Got to have them both, at least one of them running, but need both of them. A lot of mill and overlay work in our parking lots. Hallelujah. Our Halsey Hall kitchen renovation is underway. This is one of those things that's been out there for a number of years. An old kitchen, and well, it came in overpriced. It had to be delayed. We submitted to the federal VA for a project, a 65% grant. Finally are getting it. It'll come in here hopefully in the next few weeks. So the VA will actually pay for 65, the state 35, huge savings. We're going to get a brand new kitchen, top of the line equipment, and it's just something that's long overdue there. So we're just thrilled to have that. They're suffering. They got a mobile kitchen right now, but they're looking hopefully in the next 45 days to finish up that project. One of the nice, they got a nice fitness center out there for the residents, employees that was completed last year, and they've done a lot. The agency has with social media, and especially them out there, informing people, family, residents, what's going on and connecting them to their families at both locations. And they're working on a YouTube channel, hopefully to keep people connected out there. So doing our best. There's only so many people and so much time and so much money. And so it's a balancing act on trying to get this done, but they've done a great job. You can see some of the things that are going to be important next year with the fire alarm system, stucco and porch replacement, and some of the renovations of the cottages. Hopefully finish up all the ADA compliant things that need to be done. And you can see out to 2022. So I'm going to stop there I've been talking a lot. Before we move on to Human Resources, Veterans Services, does anybody have any questions concerning what's going on at our homes and what's happening? Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and just want to say thanks you do a lot of great things for the veterans of the state, and I appreciate that. But and I know turnover is high, but here it says at the Kansas Soldiers Home, turnover for licensed practical nurses was 100%. And like I said, I know turnover is high in that profession, but I just can't help but wonder, was there like some issue or some event or something that caused the turnover rate to be that high?
Nothing. That I can talk with our HR director and ask the question. I'm sorry, when I put this together, I didn't have time to get everything, all the background information, but I don't think there was any event. This last year with COVID, I mentioned, and I'll give you an example here. We have people applying who may apply for a job. As an example, for an RN position out at the Soldiers Home, this happened about a year ago. This individual worked out there before, wanted to come back out, and in the meantime, while we were waiting to process him, somebody contacted him and offered him a job with higher pay, a tuition payback program, and a bonus. We can't do those things. Our hands are, I wish we could. We have some good benefits, but these people, they know who all the healthcare workers are. They get called. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of LPNs. And I know the turnover there is significantly high. But, is there one thing? No, probably not. I have a feeling it has to do with, pay, other opportunities, COVID. A lot of people are just getting burnt out in the long-term care facilities after everything that's going on. But I will ask the question. I'll see if I can find something.
And I do know, like I said, LPN, that level, I mean, I know a lot of people, go on and get some additional schooling and become an RN from that. And I just, 100% though, that just kind of stood out to me. But, all right, thank you.
Representative Neely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since you've not been taking in new residents and stuff that way, do you anticipate a large amount coming in as soon as you open back up?
I will say we have taken in some residents, not very many. There's been some gaps when the numbers in the counties with them at the facilities, so we have taken some new residents. We were just talking about that yesterday as an example. I think out of Fort Dodge, they've got, or was it Winfield, but they talked about 5 to 8 people who have approved applications. They've got 5 or 6 more in the works. And I think this is at both locations. We're seeing a trend the other direction. I will tell you that, over the last, in my time with this agency, families have waited longer to put their loved ones in nursing homes, as it is. It used to be somebody was in a nursing home, it could easily be 2 or 3 years. Now, usually when they're put in, it's usually less than 12 months in the long-term care. So people, especially because of COVID, they've been holding on to them longer because of the horror stories you see in the newspapers and stuff. People are afraid. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. Even though we have these people who are approved, who have sent in applications, we don't know whether they're going to admit, their loved ones in at this point in time. I think we're going to see, it's a real burden upon the families to take care of these folks at home. I've seen firsthand is very, very difficult. I think we're going to see an uptick. I sincerely, both homes believe we're going to see it. Like I said, it's going to be kind of a calculated process just because they're going to have to go into quarantine initially, how many we bring in at a time, and it's just going to take some time for us to get our numbers up. But I really believe we're going to see a significant uptick. Don't know when it's going to start, but I think sometime in the near future. My best guess.
Representative French.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Director, for being here today.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you being here. Just have a question. How many FTEs are you authorized
We're authorized for our agency,
for the agency?
a little over I think it's 366.
366. And what's your current field? Do you have any idea?
We're just a little under 300 right now.
Okay.
And I will tell you, we haven't been up to our max in a long time. It's just, it has to do with the homes, has to do with our budget. We normally run somewhere, 320, 325.
Okay. And then is one of the homes, which home has the greatest deficiency in FTEs?
Probably our home at Fort Dodge.
Or Dodge?
Yes.
That's where you're critically short?
We are short. They're making do, and like I said, with with agency, even though agencies that we're able to fill the gaps, we're meeting all the requirements at both of our facilities. But I would rather do it with agencies, with our staff, state staff, versus filling the gaps with agency staff. More predictable, cheaper. The people know who they are. They're not different every time, so there's a lot of good reasons why you would want to have state employees versus utilizing agency staff.
You're not anticipating an increase in FTE because you really can't feel what you have already, right?
Well, the hope will be if our census starts to go up. If our census starts to go up, I'm hoping that maybe, I'm assuming that the COVID's going to be on the downturn, and maybe there'll be more people willing to work in the healthcare industry, not only in the hospitals, but also long-term care facilities. I think COVID's really turned a lot of people away.
Well, yeah, it has. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Director Burden, for coming today. First of all, just I want to salute the heroic work that your folks have been doing in these homes, taking care of our veterans in a challenging time. I wonder if you could, you said during your testimony that the reimbursement for long-term care is significantly more than some of the other services you provide, or at least pays for itself plus. Could you elaborate on kind of why that is and what percentage of that is coming from VA versus Medicare or Medicaid?
Okay. I'm not sure if I have this right. Okay. What he's referring to, Representative Proctor's referring to is I believe is the long-term care versus the domiciliary reimbursement. I don't have the exact numbers, but the domiciliary, what we get reimbursed doesn't cover the costs, you know. So we use some of the long-term care money, state general fund money, to be able to fund that. It's just a fact of life. And we wish the reimbursement was higher, but it's not. And so it makes it tough. You know, we've had domiciliary. I think domiciliary is important in a lot of respects, but it doesn't cover the cost. We, as it is with our funding for our agency, the state general fund is about, you know, less than 25%, 24% of what we get. And then fee funds, which includes what the residents pay, and then Medicaid and Medicare, which is lumped into that, is about 32%. And then VA funding is about 37%. So you can see it's nice because it's rather proportional. We aren't relying on one, it changes every year. But yeah, to your point, it's tough. With the decrease in the long-term care census, that's decreased dollars that we bring in, but we still have our domiciliary folks there, and they have to be taken care of. They have to be fed. They still have appointments to go to. They still get services. So, and I'm sorry, and I can get that information of what the reimbursement rate is for long-term care and what the reimbursement rate is for domiciliary. I didn't bring that today, so I apologize.
Representative Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, thank you again. I appreciate what you do. I don't know why I never knew we had state cemeteries. I did not know. I know very much about the VA, and this mom and dad were both World War II veterans. They're up at Leavenworth. I didn't know this. How do we publicize that for people? Because I know additional family members, that's an opportunity for them. We do not have the national cemeteries everywhere.
Right. I hate to say it's one of the best kept secrets out there. The state veteran cemetery program isn't very old. Within our state and even across the nation, they've built a whole lot of state veteran cemeteries over the last 10 years. I'm trying to think, our oldest cemetery, I think is only 15, 16 years old. Believe me, whenever we go out and talk to people, this is something we try to promote as much as we can, whether it's in person, on social media. We make sure all the service organizations are well aware of it. I'm sure Chairman Clark will tell you that I preach about it in the state capitol and to all the representatives and to all the committees here. It's one of the best programs, in my opinion, that the VA has. It's a tremendous program.
So, and then you listed it as Manhattan, and then I saw Fort Riley, so I know that place a lot better than I know Manhattan.
And I apologize. It's just because of where it's located. You know, I was born and raised in Manhattan. I think of it as a Manhattan, but it's Fort Riley actually has an army cemetery out there. But where the airport is, there's a bluff overlooking the airport just to the west.
Yep.
And the land I think Fort Riley used to own was donated to the state, and that's where that property is over in Manhattan. Yeah.
Great. Second question deals with the homes. And in northeast Kansas, which is where my area is, I'm out of the Bonner Springs area, so I'm closer. I would love to have put Dad in one of these homes, but we didn't want to go all the way out to Winfield, or we did not want to have to go to Fort Dodge where we couldn't see him. Do you see there, you know, and I'm working on it with Representative Proctor, do we need something closer to the northeast corridor to provide that type of nursing care?
Good question. This is, the question you asked for a new nursing home in Northeast Kansas is something our agency and myself have been promoting for years. And I think it's vitally important. I think it's a tremendous service for our veterans. You know, and people need to realize, you know, 2/3 of the state's population is in the eastern third of the state of Kansas. The same goes with veterans. So the majority of the veterans are in the eastern part of the state and mainly congregated in that northeast corridor. You know, I look at everything from Manhattan, Topeka, Lawrence, Kansas City, Leavenworth. You know, that's where the population centers are, the larger population. And we don't have a long-term care facility there. I think there's a significant need for one there. You can ask our service organization. It's something we've talked about for years and years. It's unfortunate with COVID right now. Our hands are full. One of the things that the VA looks at is what's your census, and they want to see certain levels. We're not anywhere near that right now. But it's a tough uphill battle. But I sincerely believe that the veterans deserve a home in the northeast part of the state, and I'm hoping at some point in time, sooner rather than later, that we get that home.
So yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I guess
No, that's
I
good.
didn't know you were searching for
Thank
a
you,
yes or no
Mr.
answer.
Okay, we got time for one more. Representative Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to take this off. So,
Absolutely.
thank you for being here again. And if you haven't been into any of those cemeteries, just go to the one over by Manhattan, Fort Riley area, and the one out in Waukene. I've been to both of those. They're very well put together. And I think everybody that has a veteran or somebody in their family and they're thinking about it, they should go out there and okay, that works. Thank you. So they should go out there and visit those. That's just a comment. Second question I have is on your maintenance and your 5-year plan. Is there a new one out? Because I think the one I have is probably older than that.
This is what we submitted just last session or last summer. I can get you it. Actually, I'll give you this one.
If you would, please. Okay.
We got extra.
I think that's all I have for now. Thank you very much for being here and for your information. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you being here. It's always enlightening to hear what the progress and the issues are with the VA administration, and you do a wonderful job at it, and we really appreciate it. So keep up the good work.
Right. Thank you. I didn't have a chance to go through everything, but if anybody has any specific questions, I'm leaving a bunch of my cards right here. You're more than welcome to call me, email me, contact us or any of our staff. we'll certainly do our best to get you the answers or the information that you're looking for. And if you want me to come by your office, just let me know, and I'll do my best to set up a time that works for both of us to come by and talk. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
And I would continue that with saying that there's nobody more eager to participate with the committee than Mr. Gregg here. He does a great job. And I actually was at one of the dedications for the Manhattan, Fort Riley, whichever it is, cemetery. Beautiful, beautiful place. I was just blown away when I saw it. It just is very, very beautiful. Okay, with that, committee, we will be here for the next round, and I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you.